Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea. It's an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, my international friends, come and join us as we talk about our favorite things in the world, movies and movie news and all that sorts of good stuff. And look, I'd like to give this disclaimer right off the top here. If you've come to this show to listen to somebody tell you the opinions you already have, you're in the wrong place. You see, my job here is not to tell you what you want to hear, nor is it my job to try to convince you to agree with me. Not at all. See, my job here is to give you my honest opinion on movies and TV and stuff like that, and hopefully give it in such a way that it helps you sharpen your own opinion, regardless of whether your opinion is the same or totally the opposite of mine. As long as we can have that discussion, then we're in for a good time together. All right. So listen, normally I'm joined here Mondays by Robert Meyer Burnett, but unfortunately he had something come up, so he couldn't be here today. He will be back again tomorrow. But who is joining us, returning from the land all the way in the east, Ashley Whalen is back, ladies and gentlemen. Ashley, good to have you back.
Hey, good to be here. Hello, everyone. I'm glad to be back. I had a great, refreshing trip back home in New York. Some of you were messaging me the whole time, and it was great. Nice to see friends and fam. Happy to be back.
Now, you were actually back a little bit ago, but then you had some commercials to shoot and all that kind of stuff. You're a busy girl, travel and commercials and all that sorts of good stuff.
Yeah, I just booked a Ford commercial, which is funny because I just watched the trailer for Ford v Ferrari.
Well, and we will get to that, actually. That's a nice segue. We'll get to that in just a second here. So listen, guys, we do have a bunch of stuff to talk about here today. And then near the end of the show, we're, of course, going to take your live questions. You can fire in those live questions starting now if you wish. But let's get things started right off the top with just that. A brand new trailer for Ford v Ferrari has dropped. Now, of course, Robert and I were at CinemaCon last month. And it might have even been a little more than a month ago. Time is flying. We were at CinemaCon in April. And other than maybe the Terminator, like the 7 or 8 minutes of Terminator footage they showed, I think the stuff that got the biggest pop from the audience and got the most chattering going and the most talking going was probably the Ford v Ferrari presentation that they did. And they gave us this full presentation. They showed us a bunch of footage, all of which was in the trailer, but they also showed us more than that and had everybody talking. And you've probably heard me and Rob talk about this as well. Of course, it's all based on the true story. An incredible cast that includes Christian Bale, Matt Damon, John Bernthal, on and on and on. The music selection for the trailer was awesome, unlike the Terminator trailer, but whatever. The music selection for the trailer was awesome. The on-screen chemistry looks like it's going to be incredible. And if you guys have watched me for any period of time, you know I am a bit of a sucker for these movies that are based on true stories. I think the source material is great. The story's fantastic. You got a fantastic crew both in front of and behind the camera. You got the guy who directed Logan is directing this film. So you've got great pedigree behind and in front of the camera. Trailer looks sharp and crisp. This to me screams Oscar contender. Now, we've thought that before, granted, about some movies that turn out to be awful, but it's true. I look at this thing and it just screams Oscar contender to me. Ashley, you had a chance this morning to watch this Ford v Ferrari trailer. What did you think about it?
I think it looks great. It has everything you want. It's like 1960s, based on a true story, amazing actors, amazing director. This is my kind of car racing movie over like Fast and the Furious. Like, this is what I would go see this with my girlfriends. It looks really great. I like that it's actually like a true story. So always.
So, and again, when you're putting talent like this together, it's always kind of exciting. You know, Christian Bale is very selective and very picky about what types of movies and projects he likes to attach himself to. So this is all good things. This is yet another one for us to put on our radars, guys. What did you think about the Ford v Ferrari trailer? Jump down to the comments section and let me know your thoughts. All right, another thing off the top here, guys, and this one is pretty damn exciting. And yet another thing that I had no idea about. And I went to Ann this morning and said, "Did you know about this?" She goes, "What?" And I told her about this. She goes, "Maybe." But she can't tell me stuff. But anyway, it was announced this morning, guys, that we've known for a while. There was announced that they were going to try to be developing Magic the Gathering stuff into a series of some sorts. Now, that was spilled over about a year ago. But this morning, the official news dropped. The Russo brothers, coming off of course, one of the biggest films in history, Avengers Endgame, and their incredible run with the MCU. They've got another number of projects on the go, and they've always said, we've got another pretty special thing coming. Well, now we know what that special thing is. According to reports, the Russo brothers are going to be shepherding and running the development of an animated Magic the Gathering series that has been ordered by Netflix. This is specifically what is being said over at Variety. Joe and Anthony Russo, Wizards of the Coast, and Hasbro's AllSpark Animation have teamed with Netflix to bring the fantasy game to the screen for the first time in the franchise's history. The Russos will oversee the creation of an all-new storyline and expand on the stories of the Planeswalkers, which are Magic's magic-wielding heroes and villains. We have been huge fans and players of Magic the Gathering for as long as it has been around, so being able to bring these stories to life through animation is a true passion project for us, the Russo brothers said. Now, I am not going to lie to you. The reality is, this is not all that far off from a video game movie. I mean, It's a game being turned into a thing. Chances are it's probably not going to be any good. But I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I was pretty damn excited about this for a couple of reasons. Mostly for a very biased reason. And that biased reason is me and Ann play a lot of Magic the Gathering. If you go into our living room, we have this this storage shelf, and if you pull out all the drawers, they're just filled to the brims with Magic the Gathering stuff, like tons of unopened packages and all this kind of stuff as well. As a matter of fact, I'm using this story to show off a little something here. Forgive this little shot here, but this is my geek case. Within this geek case, I have if I know there's a chance I might be playing Magic the Gathering somewhere, I pull out the old geek case. And here's what I got in the geek case here. So I've got my, I've got counter dice, which you need a lot of these, especially for the decks that I play. I've got my main rolling dice, a bunch of alternate cards here. I've got my black and red deck. I'll show that off in a second. And I've got my all-powerful, never been beaten. Well, actually, Ann's beat me a couple times with this deck, but very rarely beaten. It is I know I've got a black case, but I just like the case. It is actually an all-white deck. And you can see, of course, I have all my cards. Yes, I was a virgin until I was 18. I've got all my cards in individual plastic sleeves. You can see each card is in its own protective sleeve. And my all-white deck, I have had great success with this white deck. I'm not going to lie to you. Not so much, luck in dating department when I was younger, but a lot of success with my white deck. And then, of course, over here, that's a little awkward back here, not enough space. In here, I've got also in all protective sleeves, I've got my very, very handy, I really do like this. This is great for a pickup game, my red and black deck. I've had a lot of good luck with this one as well. So I'm a little biased when it comes to hearing the news. And like I said, if I'm going to try to be unbiased, which it's hard to be unbiased, but if I'm going to try to be unbiased, the reality is this isn't that much far of a jump from a video game movie. Who knows if this is going to turn out to be any good or not? And who knows, maybe the Russo brothers, you know what? No, they were being serious, because I remember the first time they came into one of my studios, Magic the Gathering came up. They have played Magic the Gathering, so they've got a little bit of a connection to it. That's all well and good. Again, I'm not going to hold out a lot of hope for this, because it's only a hair away from being an actual video game movie, which usually don't turn out so well. But I'm going to hold on to hope, guys. I'm going to hold on to hope here. I love Magic the Gathering. How you turn this into narrative storytelling, I'll be honest with you, I don't know. I mean, you can do anything with these things, and there are a lot of different sets that have come out that have altered the stories and things like that. So whether they'll go with one of the established stories, whether they'll just use some main recognizable figures from it to build their own unique story around it, none of that's really been revealed yet, and I don't think much of a timetable has been revealed about it at this point.
Is this the first time a board game is getting turned into an animated series or some sort of film series at all?
Well, it's more of a collector card game, but it is a tabletop game. So
clearly, I have not played, but
yeah. Well, it's very easy to play. Playing Magic the Gathering is a lot like playing poker. It takes you 10 minutes to learn, a lifetime to master. But I know they're developing there's a Monopoly movie coming, so we know that. I believe there's a Chutes and Ladders movie in development, but has there been one? Battleship was one. They did Battleship a few years ago. That was terrible. So they did Battleship. I think I've heard them say somebody's trying to develop a Risk movie right now, which I play a lot of Risk, which is great. But yep, ladies and gentlemen, Magic the Gathering is coming. What do you guys think about that? Have you played the Magic the Gathering? Whether you have or not, what do you think about them turning into it? Do you have a lot of high hopes, or are you like me and you're a little bit skeptical? Jump down to the comments section below and let us know what you guys think. Well, listen, guys, before we get into our main topics here today, you know, it's Monday, which means the box office numbers have come out. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But if you're talking about box office, I want to tell you guys about one of the sponsors of the John Campea Show. It is fanjecture.com. These guys have a game online that is great. It's basically fantasy sports leagues, but for movie fans, picking box office numbers. We want to thank fanjecture.com for being one of our sponsors, and check out this message from our friends at fanjecture.com.
Show off your box office prediction skills with FanJexture. Fantasy sports for film fans. Play games like Fantasy Film Book, a sportsbook style game where the top films from the box office are matched up and given a spread and a total. Do your research and make your picks. Track your results as the box office numbers roll in. Compete for prizes every week. Always absolutely free. Visit fanjexture.com to learn more and play today.
All right, and we want to thank our friends at fanjecture.com once again for being a sponsor of the John Campea Show. It's a very fun game, guys. Check it out when you guys get a chance. All right, with that said, let's move on now to our main topics today. How do we select our main topics around here on the John Campea Show? Well, you guys come up with the main topics by going to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you get there, fill out the form with your topic or question, and maybe, just maybe, you might see your topic or question featured here on the John Campea Show. With that down and out of the way, Ashley, what is our first main topic today?
Okay, guys, first one up is from Craig Beggio. Hi, John. I've been really looking forward to Brightburn, but it's been an absolutely crazy week with my sister having a baby. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah, and other bits of life's craziness. I was really discouraged to see mediocre reviews for it, and now I just saw that it took a massive 70% drop at the box office. Do you think negative word of mouth and the bad reviews had anything to do with that? Also, what effect does Brightburn's drop have on the industry as a whole? Thanks.
Well, as far as the industry as a whole, I'm not sure. That's hard to say. Whenever you see somebody taking a chance and doing something a little bit different and unique, you want to see it have some success. And whenever it doesn't, that will give more pause to other filmmakers and studios in the future for maybe wanting to dive in and take a shot at it. Now, as far as Brightburn's drop goes, yeah, it's pretty unfortunate. The drop was rather significant. When we look at Brightburn, the first weekend was last weekend. It was in 2,607 theaters for its big opening. Only made $7.8 million. Now, granted, this movie did not cost $120 million to make. It didn't need to have a huge box office. But even for a film the size of Brightburn, 7.8 was pretty disappointing. Then we rolled into this past weekend, which is weekend 2, still playing in 2,607 theaters, but taking a massive 70.5% drop off, coming in at just $2.3 million on its second weekend. Now, we talk sometimes that you can sort of expect bigger drop-offs, but that's usually when a movie has a massive opening weekend, because that means almost everybody went to go see it anyway. What we gather from these Brightburn numbers is unfortunately that, number one, not a lot of people went to go see it on its opening weekend, and that there just simply wasn't positive word of mouth about it to get people to come out to weekend number 2. As a matter of fact, it seems like it was a detriment, and we had a significant 70.5% drop off, which is really too bad. Because, like I said, whenever you see filmmakers wanting to take a chance and wanting to try something different and do something a little bit out of the usual, as Brightburn clearly is, you really do want to see it get some success. That said, I mean, you guys have heard me talk about Brightburn. I was super excited for this film, but I was really rather disappointed in it. It was not nearly as good as I was hoping it would be. And I think the main problem for me was that even though it worked as a little indie horror film, there was really nothing to the storytelling. Like, what you see in the trailer is exactly what you get in the movie. And I was just kind of hoping that our main character here, the kid, he would have had any kind of a journey, any kind of a challenge, any kind of of an obstacle he had to overcome, some sort of challenges he had to face, but there was none. The kid shows up in the movie, discovers his powers, and that's it. There's nothing he has to do in it. Now, again, there are some good little horror elements to it that make it function on that level, but it almost feels, and I've mentioned this before, that Brightburn would have worked better and maybe should have worked better as a short, like 20-minute installment in a horror anthology movie. You know, like a single little episode in an anthology might have been a little bit more effective. So I think a number of things has contributed to its downfall. Number one, the fact that the critic reviews weren't great for it, including mine, even though I was really excited about this movie. Number two, the word of mouth was not all that great. And that all that combined leads to a larger than, usual drop off. And it's not like you can blame Godzilla, because it's not like Godzilla ate up all the box office either, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. So yeah, it really is unfortunate and it really is a shame. I hope that this doesn't deter other filmmakers from trying unique, different things later on, but you can't just rely on it being a unique idea. You got to still flesh it out, and you still got to put in the work, and you got to make it a compelling overall 3-act story. And unfortunately, I feel like Brightburn came up a little bit short of that. And I was cheering for it, and I'll continue to cheer for them. I want to see them do more stuff, but just maybe flesh it out a little bit more. And hopefully we'll get something a little bit better in the future. Did you guys see Brightburn? If so, what did you think of the film? And are you surprised or not surprised at all to see this 70% drop from weekend 1 to weekend 2? Jump down to the comments section below and let me know what you guys think. All right, let's move on now to the second main topic today. Ashley, what is our second main topic today?
Up next is Strawberry Hot Cake. There's been a lot of debate over the years about whether or not Robin should be part of a Batman movie. I know you don't like the idea, but there is a new story going around that Warner Brothers may be putting Robin in the new Robert Pattinson. How reliable do you think these rumors are, and would you change your mind about Robin if Matt Reeves put him in the movie?
All right, so here's the thing. A lot of years, there's always been talk over almost all the Batman iterations about whether or not a Robin should be put in there. I am, in general, for those of you who may not know, I am not for Robin being in a live-action Batman film, with a few little asterisks there. I'd be okay with a Robin being in a live-action Batman movie if you seriously change the Robin kind of character and story. Mm-hmm. Do not have him as a 10, 11, or 12-year-old boy with a stick that a grown adult man is bringing into gunfights with mobsters. That is called child abuse. Anyway, make it so he's 19, 20-year-old young guy that he brings in under his wing. You do that, I'm okay with it. I still don't think it's a great idea, but I'd be okay with it. The thing that I'm against is not Robin in general, not at all. I mean, I like all the Robins from, obviously Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim, all the way down the gambit. Bruce's own son, Damian. I'm fine with the Robin characters in print and in animation. That's great. But the way they've done Batman in the live action big screen, it would feel completely out of place to have a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, 12-year-old, non-super powered little kid with a stick running around. Mm-hmm. You make some changes. Yeah, I think it's open for discussion. Now, like he said, there are stories going around right now that there could possibly be a Robin in a new Batman movie. But what do I always tell you guys? Follow it to the source. Where are all these sites running their headlines from? What's this all coming from? When you follow the source of this, what this story and these rumors going around that we're going to see a Robin in the Robert Pattinson Batman incarnation, it comes from Forbes, which is a really good site, but they're kind of taking what Forbes said out of context. Here's the exact line and the full extent of what Forbes said in their report, okay? Forbes was writing about a bunch of stuff going on with Robert Pattinson Batman, and in one of the lower near the end paragraphs, they wrote this. With multiple villains appearing in the Batman, I was told months ago that Penguin, Riddler, and possibly Catwoman are expected to appear, as well as other rogues and mobsters, and additional characters including Commissioner Gordon, Alfred, and potentially Robin. We should be hearing additional casting information soon. That was a small throwaway paragraph containing a small throwaway line at the bottom of an article talking about something else. But to put this into context, this article that this quote came from all started with the writer. I believe it was Hughes who was doing the writing on this one. The entire beginning of this article was Hughes basically confessing, look, I reported several things on this new Batman movie that have turned out to be completely wrong, and my sources were wrong. And I mean, hey, scoops sometimes are wrong, and all you can do is come clean. And Hughes was coming completely clean. I say, hey, look, keep in mind, guys, I did some predictions of things. I reported things that I got told by studio sources that turned out to be completely false. That is the context of the article that he was writing. He was being completely transparent, completely forthcoming, and all that kind of stuff. And within that context, he also wrote, I also heard potentially Robin. That one line in that one paragraph at the bottom of one article turned and mutated very quickly into headlines that Robert Pattinson's new Batman is rumored to include Robin. And that might be a bit of a stretch. I think that is a bit of a stretch. Now, is it possible that a Robin character could appear in the new Matt Reeves incarnation of Batman? I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why I think it's not possible, and then one or two reasons why I think maybe it is possible. Let's look at the why it's not possible. Number one, this is our new Batman, Robert Pattinson. I think he's going to do a terrific job. The dude's a fine actor. He's great. But he's going to be a younger Batman than the Ben Affleck Batman. He's roughly the same age as the Christian Bale Batman. He's actually a little bit older than Christian Bale was when Christian Bale started as Batman. But he seems a little young to be having a 17-year-old ward. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But it seems to me that if you're going to do a Batman movie, particularly a new incarnation of Batman, you might want to let that Batman have the movie to himself. I mean, you don't have to, but it seems to me like that would make a little bit more sense to have the movie to himself. So, and that is actually the second part. Not only is the age thing of Robert Pattinson, but the fact that, do you really want to make it a Batman and Robin movie, or do you want to let it just focus on a Batman movie and maybe leave the door open for a Robin a little bit later on? Also, it seems to me like they would be overcrowding it. Look, there are rumors and reports going around that it's going to have Penguin and Catwoman, and it's going to have Commissioner Gordon, and maybe the Riddler, and Batman, and blah, blah, blah. And are you going to add on top of all that Robin as well into the first new Batman film? That seems like a bit of a stretch. All right, now let me play devil's advocate. Let's talk for a second about maybe why it could be possible. The biggest reason to me that it could feasibly be possible is the fact of, if you look at Warner Brothers' new direction with their DC properties, they're going a little bit more lighthearted, or seriously lighthearted if you look at Aquaman and Shazam, which I love Shazam, and I really liked Aquaman. They're going a little bit more lighthearted. With Shazam, we see they're bringing in some younger age groups in there as well. If you look at all that, you got to say it's not inconceivable that a Walter Hamada who is running everything over at DC now, wouldn't consider, hey, maybe throwing in a Robin at this point, maybe that's not such a bad idea. I don't think they are, and I don't think we will get a Robin in this next Batman, let me be clear, but it is not outside the realm of possibility, understanding the direction Hamada's been taking DC, that a Robin character at this juncture would still be consistent with what they've been doing so far with both Aquaman and especially with Shazam. So there's my reasons why I don't think we're going to see him in there. I don't think it makes a lot of sense, and I still don't think a Robin fits with a live-action Batman unless you change him up, which will piss off a lot of the comic book fans, but I think it'll be better for everybody else. But also why I think it could conceivably happen. So that's my thoughts on that at any rate, guys. What do you think? Number one, let me ask you this. Do you think they will put Robin in a new iteration of Batman? And then number two, would you want them to? Those can be two separate answers. Do you think they will? Do you think you want them to? Jump down in the comment section below and let me know your thoughts.
They better keep Danny DeVito as the Penguin. That's all I have to say.
Yeah,
no one else can play that.
Have you seen the petitions online to get Danny DeVito as the new Wolverine?
No.
They are fabulous and fantastic, and I kind of hope no one's going to take it seriously, obviously, but oh my God, that would be hilarious. All right.
Geez.
What is our next main topic today?
All right, let's do Tanner Botting. Greetings and salutations. I wanted to know what you thought about the news that Keanu Reeves is in talks to star in Marvel's The Eternals. Speaking for myself, I love this news. Do you think that even though the property isn't that well known, that adding an actor like Reeves to it will boost its profile and get average movie fans more interested in it, maybe making it as successful as Guardians of the Galaxy was?
First of all, let me mention this. Speaking of Keanu Reeves, last night got around to watching the new Netflix movie with Ali Wong and Asian Jim. I keep forgetting his name, but he's from Fresh Off the Boat. In their new romantic comedy, Always Be My Maybe, of which, of course, you saw in the trailer, Keanu Reeves makes an appearance. Oh my God, that movie's really cute. That is one of the better Netflix original films I've seen. It was very cute and adorable. It's not a top 10 or 15 movie of the year by any stretch of the imagination, but it was really adorable and had some really good chuckles and laughs. And Keanu Reeves is amazing in this film. And he plays himself, by the way. There was a rumor going around that he plays himself in the movie. He does. And he is absolutely fantastic in it. If you get a chance to watch Always Be My Maybe, it's on Netflix. Check it out. It's cute. It's adorable. Got some charm. Got a little bit of fun. It's a little silly and cheesy, yes, but it is what it is. But totally worth the watch. So check it out if you get a chance to do that. All right. So the possibility of a Keanu Reeves popping up in the MCU has been an exciting idea for a while. I mean, there have been rumors and people whispering about it and talking about it for years, literally. So now we've got this movie, The Eternals, coming. And the neat thing about The Eternals is that, well, it's going to be the next film that comes after Black Widow. We know Black Widow's already shooting. That's going to be the next film to come out. But apparently the ones that's going to come out right after that is going to be Eternals. Now, they haven't give us a lot of information. We know Angelina Jolie's already attached. We've heard a bunch of other names being floated around. Could Keanu Reeves be that next guy? Okay. Once again, a lot of reports flying around. Keanu Reeves rumored to be in the new Eternals. Again, I go back to you guys and say, follow the source. Where is this coming from? Did this news come from the studio? No. Did it come from Variety? No. Did it come from Deadline? No. Did it come from Forbes? No. Did it come from one of the top tier websites like a Coming Soon or a Cinema Blend or something, or a Joe Blow or something? No, didn't come from any of those. Where this story comes from is from this pretty small website, which is nothing wrong with being a pretty small website. The Movie Blog was a pretty small website, and I'm very proud of that. So, small websites represent. But from this small website called MCU Cosmic. And MCU Cosmic, they wrote that they had the exclusive story that they have heard from their sources that Keanu Reeves is not only being looked at, but in negotiations. Negotiations means you've already been picked and now you're seeing if you can work out the deal. They're actually in negotiations with Keanu Reeves. Now, let me just say something here that I say quite often. There is nothing wrong at all with a site that if they believe they got information to share it with their viewers, readers, listeners. There is nothing wrong with that at all. I've done that. What I do think is an issue, though, is when websites take that information from smaller sites and then running it as legitimate news stories. Hell, I've often said when I've broken news, even when I broke that, I'm the one who told you that the upcoming Star Wars dates, those are the Benioff and Weiss movies. They're not the Rian Johnson movies, right? That's me. I'm not Variety. I'm not Forbes. I don't think other sites should run that as a headline. I don't think other YouTube channels should make videos saying because who the hell's John Campea? I'm freaking nobody. So you shouldn't run I think I should be able to share with my viewers and readers if I've heard something, but I am not a scoop machine. I am not a major Hollywood insider. Other websites should not take what I say and run headlines out of it. Nor do I think that other sites should take just something that any website writes, whether it's an MCU Cosmic or otherwise, and consider that reliable enough that they should run their own headlines based on it. I don't think they should do it on my stories. I don't think they should do it on stories like this. So I think that's a little questionable. I think that's really questionable. You shouldn't be running that stuff. Now, as far as whether or not MCU Cosmic is right about this, I will give this one little disclaimer. Do you remember a while ago there were confirmed reports going around that the new Endgame movie was going to be called Endgame Annihilation? I believe MCU Cosmic was the source of that. I believe they were the ones who said that we've got, multiple confirmed sources saying that this is Annihilation and blah, blah, blah. Hey, you know what? Sometimes you get fed wrong information. I'm the guy who got told that Adrian Brody was going to be Ant-Man 7 years ago. Remember that? How did that turn out? Not so well. So sometimes you get fed wrong information and you get it wrong, and that happens. All I'm saying is that when a site like mine or a site like MCU Cosmic shares something with their viewers or readers that they consider to be a story, I don't think other websites should ever consider that, oh, that's legitimate enough that we should be running headlines on that. So that's my thoughts on that. Now, as to whether or not this story could actually be true, could this story actually be true? It's possible. I mean, right now, Keanu Reeves has his name right now has never been hotter ever before. You know, somebody asked me a while ago, do you think Keanu Reeves is at the height of his career now, even more than he was during The Matrix? And at the time I said, no, I think he was probably hotter during The Matrix, but I'm starting to change my mind on that. I'm starting to think his name is worth more today, and his name is hotter today than maybe it's ever been. And so is now the time to strike for Keanu Reeves to jump into something like an MCU or a DC universe or something along those lines? Is now the time for an MCU or a DC to go after an actor like Keanu Reeves to put him in their projects? If you're Marvel and you've already got Angelina Jolie in there, you pair her up with Keanu Reeves, what's not to like about that? Now, as far as the part of your question saying, could adding a Keanu Reeves automatically make audiences want to rush out to see a movie? No, that simply doesn't happen anymore. The days of a movie star's name being attached to the movie, guaranteeing big box office, those days are gone. The last person, I mean, you could sort of say that might still be true for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, because certainly his movies make a lot more money than they would have if it wasn't him in those movies. So you can make an argument for that. The last actor I believe that truly represented that, like put him in, you're almost guaranteed box office, was Will Smith a number of years ago. There was a long street when you put Will Smith in something, people would go see it. But I just think that era that of the movie star will bring out big numbers, that's just gone. Could it bring more excitement to the project? It could. Could it bring more attention to the project? It could. So look, I'd be totally down if they added Keanu Reeves to something like The Eternals. I'd be totally all for it. I have my suspicions and I have my doubts that this story is actually correct, but it might be. All I'm saying is, for the sake of argument, if it is real and if it is true, you can mark me down as being totally all for it. What do you guys think about that? If Keanu Reeves joins the MCU, would you be okay with that? Would you want to see something like this? Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, let's move on now with the next email today. What is up next, Ashley?
Next up is Daniel Hogan. Godzilla 2 opened well below the 230 million worldwide debut deadline had projected. With this film showing that the previous films didn't gravitate with moviegoers, and with this film getting the same lackluster cinema score as the other films, what does this mean for Godzilla vs. Kong? While some might argue it means nothing because who would skip on such a big movie, let's remember we all saw what happened to Justice League, which you could have made the same argument about.
Yeah, so Godzilla 2, Godzilla King of the Monsters. A while ago, they came out with opening projection numbers of 55 million, to which we all went, whoa, come on. This is not going to open to just 55 million. This is going to open to 70 or something. These numbers will go up. We all felt pretty confident, including me. We all felt pretty confident. These numbers are going to go up. Now, I hadn't seen the movie yet at the time, but the trailers have been awesome. The buzz seemed pretty solid for it. And Robert Meyer Burnett had seen it, and we were all saying, including me, come on. No. This movie's not going to open to 55 million. This movie's going to open to 70 minimum. So you wait. You're going to see these numbers are going to go up. Well, Godzilla King of the Monsters did open. And unfortunately, it's not very good, in my opinion. There are those who love it, and that's great. Certainly, every moment the giant monsters are on screen and fighting was awesome. Unfortunately, that only represents about 20% of the movie. The other 80% of the movie was filled with ridiculous, nonsensical, completely plotless, poorly done character gibberish with all the humans. Not the worst stuff I've ever seen, but it was certainly pretty damn poor, especially when you contrast it to how great the giant monster stuff was. Because the giant monster stuff was awesome. But the crappy human stuff far outweighed it. And look, I don't care if you want to see giant robots fighting. If you want to just put up the giant spectacle and ignore everything else, you end up with a crappy Transformers movie. And that's what I felt like Godzilla was. I felt like it was a Transformers movie. So it was great when the big stuff was happening, But away from that, they gave little to no attention or care or passion or attention to the rest of the movie, which made up the majority of the movie, and it ended up being pretty poor. Some people love it, and that's great. Some people were pretty disappointed like me. What is very concerning, though, with Godzilla opening to only $49 million, which is even lower than what we all thought was too low projection numbers. They projection 55, we said, no way, that's too low. Opens at $49 million. This is the continuation of a very disturbing trend with this monster universe for the studio. Because let's look at it. In 2014, the first Godzilla movie came out. It opened to a $93 million opening. That's pretty damn good. The movie wasn't great, but the opening was pretty damn good. Then in 2017, Kong Skull Island came out. And I didn't think Kong Skull Island was all that bad, actually. I enjoyed Kong Skull Island. I enjoyed it. It wasn't great, but I had a good time with it. I thought it was pretty decent. But it took a significant dip from the Godzilla film and only made $61 million. Still not terrible, I guess, at the time. But they plowed forward with this Monster Universe movie, and they said, we're going to make two more. We're going to make Godzilla King of the Monsters, and we're going to make Godzilla versus Kong. So they make Godzilla King of the Monsters, 2019. Again, the downward trend continues. It went from 93 million opening to 61 million opening, now down to a $49 million opening. This has got to have the people at Warner Brothers concerned. This has got to have them concerned. Because I'm going to tell you right now, they have already shot Godzilla versus Kong. We know that movie's already shot. They're done principal photography on it. They're all in post-production now. Had they not already shot Godzilla versus Kong, I'm going to tell you right now, they would have canceled the movie. I'll tell you right now, they would have canceled Godzilla versus Kong if they had not started production on it already. When they look at these numbers, from 93 to 61 to 49, with a movie that a bunch of people like, I didn't, but a bunch of people did, like Godzilla, King of the Monsters. Despite that, it dropped and dropped and dropped. It'll be interesting to see what kind of drop it takes in its second weekend. Will it have a good, positive holding on and good legs and only take a 50 to 60% drop? Will it go above 60% or lower? I'm suspecting it's going to take a greater than 60% drop next weekend. I don't want it to, but I kind of suspect that it will. So yeah, this isn't good news. This is not good news for them at all. Again, I think it's probably roughly around, I'm surprised. Even though I didn't like the movie, I thought it would do better. I still thought, because I thought the marketing was, I thought they did a great job on the marketing. I thought the trailers have looked sharp. It's giant monsters. I mean, King Ghidorah fighting Godzilla in the trailers have looked fantastic. I expected it to do better. But yeah, I'll be straight up with you right here. If they had not already begun shooting, this new movie coming out, Godzilla vs. Kong, never would happen. But it's too late. They've shot the movie. They spent the money on it. So now all they can do is try to do as much as they can, put even more oomph into the marketing, try to have a little bit better of a turnout, but we'll have to see. None of this is good news for them at this point.
For me, at least Kong has like more of a draw than Godzilla, so maybe Godzilla versus Kong will have more of a draw to people than just Godzilla, but I'm not really sure.
Why does Godzilla, I'm just curious, why does Kong have more of a draw for someone like you than, say, Godzilla?
I don't know, maybe just like the history of the film, and then I thought they really did a good job. I mean, I loved all the actresses, like Naomi Watts when she was in it. I liked the humor with Jack Black and Kong Island, right?
Well, that was Peter Jackson's King Kong. Then there was the one from a couple of years ago with Kong Skull Island with John C. Reilly and Tom Hiddleston. And the girl who plays Brie Larson was in it. Yes, you had a movie with Loki. You had a movie with Loki and Captain Marvel. In a movie with King Kong. I mean, I guess that's all they've got left to hope for at this point is that maybe Kong and the novelty of Godzilla versus Kong, maybe that'll bring people out. They certainly better hope so at this point, because this is going to be a movie that ends up losing them money. Unfortunately, it's going to end up losing them money, which is too bad. Anyway, what do you guys think is going to happen here? Do you think this was a disappointing result for Godzilla? How do you think it's going to do in week 2? Do you think they still would have made Godzilla versus Kong if they hadn't already made it at this point? I want to know what you guys think. Jump down to the comment section below and let me know your thoughts. All right, with that down, let's move on to our final main topic today. Ashley, what's our final main topic today?
Last one up is from Carter. Did you see that Forbes is now calling that Endgame can't bridge the remaining $75 million million gap to catch Avatar's worldwide record? If indeed it doesn't, do you think too strong theatrical competition or not strong enough rewatchability is more to blame after that astronomical opening weekend?
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. This has been a ping pong kind of topic for a long time. Like before Endgame came out, and before the infamous April 1st when the online ticket sales went on and crashed sites all over the place, I had been saying forever, Endgame is not going to catch Avatar. It's possible, but it's not going to do it. It's not going to catch Avatar. Then April 1st came with the advanced ticket sales. And I say, okay, there's a little bit more of a possibility that maybe it catches Avatar, but nah, don't count on it. If you had to put money on it, it ain't going to catch Avatar. That number is just too big. Then the opening weekend hit. And this damn movie made $357 million in opening weekend, annihilating the previous record. Just destroying and obliterating the previous record by more than $100 million. Something like that will never happen again in box office history. It'll never happen again. I mean, a new record will get set but not by the margin that Avengers Endgame just set that record. It'll never happen again. So at that point, even I, the biggest of doubters and skeptics that this movie could actually catch Avatar. I mean, we all knew it was going to be huge, but even I at that point went, well, I guess it is going to catch Avatar. Like even I had to say that. Even I had to go, yeah, with the $357 million, it basically made $2 billion worldwide by the end of its first week practically. It was like, okay, it's going to catch it. It's going to catch it. But one of the things that we have always told you guys is, guys, look, remember that movies don't pick up momentum. And we are in a society right now, a movie-going society, where more and more people are going to see these movies, these event films on opening weekend. And they have shorter tails now than they did before. Movies are becoming more and more front-end loaded with their box office stuff. There are a few exceptions, but not many. And I said, like, even though it's this huge, like, let's watch for a second. But there were people out there screaming at me that Avengers Endgame was going to make $4 billion, which I think most people knew was ludicrous, would never happen. But some people were diehard, 100% sure that Avengers Endgame was going to make $4 billion. Certainly a lot of people thought it was a foregone conclusion it would hit $3 billion. Then a little while ago it became clear it's not going to catch the domestic record being held by Star Wars The Force Awakens, which most people thought it would. Most people thought it would beat the domestic record and beat the worldwide record. It became clear it wasn't going to catch the domestic record. Okay, so Star Wars The Force Awakens will continue to hold the all-time box office domestic record. Fine. Then it became clear that it wasn't going to catch $3 billion. Okay, it'll catch Avatar at 2.78, but it's not going to catch $3 billion. That became clear. But as the weeks progress, some more and more people have been doubting that it'll actually catch Avatar. This is the quotation out of Forbes that they were talking about. Forbes wrote the following: the film earned another $8.6 million overseas to bring its overseas cum to over $1.897 billion and its global total to $2.713 billion. It's now $75 million away from Avatar's $2.788 billion global cum, but that may now be a bridge too far. Blame competition, including Walt Disney's own quite successful Aladdin remake. Now, I'm going to say this off the top here. I reject this notion that it's because of competition. Every movie in the history of cinema that has opened up in theaters faces some competition. It's universal. So get that out of here. That's not an excuse. To me, if it does not catch Avatar, number one, who the F cares? This is still one of the most incredibly successful films of all frickin' time. It passed Titanic, which has been in the top two for over 20 years. For over 20 years, Titanic has been in the top two, and along comes this movie. Nothing's come close to beating it. Along comes Titanic, or along comes Avatar Endgame, brushes Titanic out of the way. Huge, monumental feat. No other film in history, other than Avatar, has ever come within a whiff of $2.5 billion at the box office, and Avengers Endgame has blown all the way by it. Who the frick cares if it catches Avatar or not? Now, I know a lot of us deep down, for novelty's sake and just for the rush of it, we want to see Endgame catch Avatar. But if it doesn't, Who cares? I'll also say this. If it doesn't, it's not because of competition. Get that excuse out of there. If anything, it has to do with what I've said this whole time. Everybody went to go see it immediately, and it didn't leave anybody left to still see it later. And that's just what it is. And it's not just that everybody went to go see it. It's that a bunch of you guys went to go see it, and you're like writing to me and saying, I saw it 5 times opening weekend, which is great. I saw it 4 times by the time the opening weekend was done. But that means you've seen it 5 times already. How many more times are you going to go back again? It was completely front-end loaded. It was completely front-end loaded. Now, for the record, if I had to put $5 on it myself, I would still guess that Endgame is going to catch Avatar. I would still put $5 on that. Although it is becoming more and more likely that maybe it won't, I acknowledge that. I still think down in my jellies, to quote Pikachu, down in my jellies, I still kind of think it will catch it. But if it doesn't, it's not because of competition, because every movie faces competition. If it doesn't, it doesn't mean that it failed or there's any kind of disappointment whatsoever. But that if it doesn't, I'm telling you again, it's because of this growing trend, particularly with event films, for them to be front-end loaded, and people went to go see it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times by the time it had been in theaters for 4 days, and it just basically ran out of gas. But please, folks, let's not let us not make the story be Avatar, or let's not make the story Endgame fails to catch Avatar. Let's make the story Avengers Endgame, one of the most successful films in cinematic history, making over $2.7 billion. That should be the story. That should be what we're talking about, and that should be at the center of the table right now. Not any perceived negative spin. And I told you, if this thing didn't catch Avatar, if it doesn't catch 3 billion, the boo birds would come out saying, oh, big disappointment. Just shut up. It's not a disappointment. This is one of the most successful films in history, came within a breath, if it doesn't catch it, of catching a film that's been at the top for over a decade. There is no negative way to spin this. But it ain't because of competition. It ain't because of any other excuse you might want to throw at it. Every film faces that. It's going to be because it was big front-end loaded, and it's still one of the most successful films in history. That's how I look at it. Let me ask you this little question here, Ashley. You've been watching this whole drama play out. Mm-hmm. Let's say it doesn't catch Avatar. Is that like world ending for people at Marvel? And like, should MCU fans be lamenting and, hanging their heads and stuff? Like, what do you think the takeaway story from this should be?
No, I mean, look at the numbers of both of these movies. Actually, this email from Carter made me just for some reason appreciate how insanely successful Avatar has been. Because, we've been sitting here waiting for Endgame to come out. We saw it come out. We saw people literally running through to theaters to see it. And now thinking about that and being at the forefront of it and experiencing all that and knowing still that Avatar is still on top, I was like, holy crap. Like, Avatar has made so much money and has been sitting at the top forever. And the fact that it's still on top and the fact that Endgame has come this close, both of these movies have performed insanely well. Like, I think that all fans of the MCU should be super proud that it even got that high, and it's still not even done. We don't even know what's going to happen. So
yeah, again, I'm still willing to put $5 that it'll get there. But if it doesn't, guys, it's okay. It's okay if it doesn't. It's not time to start making up excuses. It's not time to start wallowing in misery. It's not time to spin it as like, oh, it underperformed. Just get that nonsense out of here, all right? If it doesn't, it's still one of the greatest accomplishments in the history of cinema, and I think we should just celebrate that. Mm-hmm. All right. With all that stuff down and out of the way, guys, we're going to move on to live questions that you guys have already been sending in. But before we get to the live questions, there's a bunch of other stuff going on in the world of film and film news that we don't have time to get into as main topics. But I want to make sure you guys get caught up to date on everything going on. So today, fact checker Jonathan proudly presents this installment of the Movie News Feed. Check it out.
First up, Lin-Manuel Miranda and the In the Heights movie crew surprised on Friday by turning out for a high school performance of the play at New York's George Washington High. From Deadline, Crazy Rich Asians' John M. Chu, who will direct the film, recorded the reaction when Miranda took the stage. The Broadway musical follows the lives over 3 days of the local immigrant residents living in Washington Heights in New York City. The In the Heights film is ready to start production and anticipates it will be released in June of 2020. Next up, after premiering his new film to critical acclaim at the 72nd edition of the Cannes Film Festival, Bong Joon-ho has teamed with Neon to bring his Palme d'Or award-winning drama to the masses. From JoBlo.com, Parasite marks Bong's comeback to Korean-language film following his release of Okja on Netflix, as well as the 2013 Chris Evans sci-fi film Snowpiercer. His latest crowd-pleaser also sets up the foreign filmmaker's fourth collaboration with actors Song Kang-ho after the duo teamed on Snowpiercer, The Host, and Memories of Murder. Neon will release Parasite on October 11, 2019. Next up, legendary action star Wesley Snipes of Blade and Demolition Man fame is set to appear in the upcoming zombie action thriller Outbreak Z, for which he will both star and executive produce the project. From ComingSoon.net, the film, directed by stuntman and Daredevil fight choreographer Chris Brewster in his debut, will follow two SWAT officers on a desperate search on a college campus overrun by zombies for a man who holds the vaccine to prevent the apocalypse. To join Snipes, Brewster is still casting other roles, reportedly going back to his past as a stunt director to hire stuntmen and women to star in the film. Production start is being eyed for summer in Minnesota, with Nashville-based songwriter Eric Argess attached to compose the score for the action horror film. Next up, we've got a new box office milestone in Disney's Aladdin, as it's been reported the movie was confirmed to have cracked the top 5 Memorial Day weekend box office openings. From Cinema Blend, from Friday through Memorial Day, Aladdin made over $116,800,000. That put it well past the previous number 5 on the list, X-Men Days of Future Past, which had a 4-day opening of over $110,576,000 in 2014. That also put Aladdin just a hair behind Fast and Furious 6. In the top 3 spots are X-Men The Last Stand, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and number 1, Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Moving forward from Aladdin, Disney still has some massive potential hits ahead in 2019, including the Lion King remake, which could break the 2017 Beauty and the Beast record for a remake opening. Next up, audiobook publisher Dreamscape Media has struck a deal with Marvel Entertainment to distribute a few dozen of the iconic comic books as read-to-me-style audiobooks. From Variety, the titles will be made available for sale and also added to the free library lending app Hoopla starting in September. Some of the comic books covered by the agreement include The Ultimate Spider-Man, The Ultimate X-Men, and Daredevil the Man Without Fear. Around 24 titles are being produced exclusively by Dreamscape Media as part of this collaboration. Dreamscape Media is the audiobook publishing arm of Midwest Tapes. Midwest will also distribute these Marvel titles via its Hoopla subsidiary, which is a digital media service that collaborates with local libraries. This means that library patrons will be able to listen to the books free of charge via the Hoopla app, provided that their local library has signed up for the service. And finally, the creators of the popular HBO series Game of Thrones, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, have parted ways with their longtime management company, Management 360. From GlamourFame.com, their now former manager, Gaiman Cassidy, who also served as producer on Game of Thrones, helped the duo turn a Song of Ice and Fire book series into a mega-hit fantasy series. Speaking about their former manager and producer, the duo said, "Gaiman has been a good friend and partner for us for many years, and we look forward to the next chapter in our relationship. His eye for great material is keener than it's ever been, and we expect to be producing many shows and films with him in the future." Currently, they are setting up meetings around town in search of a new global overall deal. They met with HBO Warner Media, Disney and Comcast, along with some streaming giants about 2 weeks ago. But as of now, the creators of Game of Thrones are busy with prepping their own trilogy of Star Wars films. The first film in the series is scheduled to release in December of 2022. And that will do it for today's installment of the Movie News Feed.
And now you are all caught up to date with everything going on. Special thanks to fact checker Jonathan for putting that together for us as he does every day. All right, guys. With all that stuff out of the way, let's now move on to the live questions. You guys have been firing in a whole bunch, so let's get over to it right now. Ashley, what do we got in the live questions?
First one is from Tyler Van. Is the show Lost worth watching?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it's absolutely worth watching. I'm not a big fan of the final season. There's a lot of people who aren't fans of the final season, but it was one of the most, I don't know, like you might make an argument that before Game of Thrones, the biggest pop cultural hit was probably Lost. The show that got everybody in the country talking and tuning in to watch it was probably Lost. So yeah, totally worth watching. All right, what's next?
Yeah, season 1 is amazing. It's
great.
Sin Vendetta. I hate your whimper indeed. Finally got to watch The Dark Crystal over the weekend and really enjoyed it. Thank you for the recommendation.
I love it when you guys take our recommendations and go and watch it. Dark Crystal, I'm telling you guys, get ready for this Netflix series. The Dark Crystal, I believe, is called Age of Resistance. By going back and watching the original, it has such a great place in my heart. I adore this movie. I hate Joel Webber. Oh my God, Mark Hamill's doing the voice of one of the Skeksis. Oh my God, I cannot wait for this. But guys, go check out The Dark Crystal. Take Sin Vendetta's advice and go check it out. All right, what's next?
Will Yang, if Godzilla vs. Kong hadn't already been shot, do you think that the studio would have still moved forward with it? Would there have been budget cuts?
Yeah, as I was saying, Willow, great minds think alike there. I just can't see it happening. If they had not already done it and shot it, and if it wasn't already in post-production at this point, I swear, I just do not see how they move forward with it. Seeing it go from 93 to 61 to 49 and just continuously drop and drop and drop. I can't see any scenario in which they would have moved forward with it. So no, I'm guessing not just budget cuts. I just think they would have canceled the film. I really do. I think they would have canceled it. All right, what's next?
JB Bonificio, that third quarter, we got a series, John.
Oh God, that was painful to watch. First of all, I did call that the Golden State Warriors would win last night. I thought it was going to go back to Golden State 1-1. But oh my God, when you open up the third quarter on an 18-0 run, I mean, come on. You can't do that to a team like the Golden State Warriors expect to win. Screw it. But anyway, I'm still picking Raptors in 7, though. All right, what's next?
Sean Blue, opinion on the movie Mandy with Nicolas Cage.
Never did watch it. I had
did.
a bunch of people tell me to watch it, and I never got around to it, to be honest with you. All right, what's next?
Yeah, I heard it was good. Murray Reich, what's the bigger disappointment for you, Glass or Godzilla, King of the Monsters?
I think Glass, because, look, I'd seen Godzilla the 2014 version, and so my expectations were great, even though I loved the trailers, and I was excited about it. But Glass, I don't know, with M. Night being on a resurgence, he was on a bit of a winning streak with The Visit, which was really good, and then he followed that up with Split, which was really good. Then going into Glass, the trailers looked fantastic. I had heard good things about it. I'm going to say for me, the bigger disappointment was Glass. All right, what's next?
Troy Strauss, Ford versus Ferrari trailer looks pretty damn good.
I think it looks fantastic, man. I mean, you got, again, incredible talent behind the camera, incredible talent in front of the camera, based on an incredible story. That's a recipe for success. It doesn't guarantee it's going to be good, but I'm certainly going to have some pretty high hopes. All right, what's next?
Curtis Lopez, I'm sad. Shazam should have been a $600 million movie.
Dude, I'm fully in agreement with you. I thought Shazam was fantastic. And I'll say this. It's my second favorite DCEU film. Behind only, guys know what I'm going to say, Man of Steel, which I think is a magnificent movie. I love Shazam. I couldn't believe how enjoyable I thought that movie was. Hey, at least it was profitable, even if just by a little bit. But, I mean, the critics really loved it. I certainly loved it. I do wish it had done better. But hey, baby steps, baby steps. Okay, what's next?
Murray Reich, Saw, Always Be My Maybe, and it was very good. 8.5 out of 10.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's the best Lifetime Network movie you've ever seen. It's a Netflix movie, but it felt like a Lifetime Network, only a really high quality one as opposed to the stuff they usually put out. Was it a bit cheesy? Yes. Was it thin? Yes. But it's tremendously enjoyable. It's got a lot of charm. I thought Ali Wong was fantastic. And again, I keep forgetting the actor's name, and I feel bad about the guy, the Asian Jim from Fresh Off the Boat in The Office. Their chemistry together was so great. Keanu Reeves was fantastic. If you watch it, guys. Watch it with a date. Watch it with a date because it's a lot of fun. All right, what's next?
Yeah, I got to see that one. David Lennon, been listening to a lot of BMWM recently. I didn't think anyone was going to say it, but when Cody said Chronicle was his favorite 2012, I lost my shit.
Yeah, we are going to be recording our next episode because we're all out of our pre-recorded ones now. And Cody has been, if you follow Cody Miller on Instagram, of course, he's been competing a lot, getting ready for the next Olympics and stuff like that. So we're just arranging a time and a schedule that we can record the next couple of episodes of Best Movie, Worst Movie. But yeah, I loved his pick of Chronicle because, oh my God, that movie's so great. If you guys haven't seen Chronicle, take David's advice there and check it out. All right, what's next?
David just went on to say, I love Chronicle. MDW, Best Movie, Worst Movie is amazing. Keep it up.
Oh, thanks so much, David. Appreciate that.
Mickey Alterelli, I just read an article about how the Akbar actor says he's upset that they made him joke in TLJ, The Last Jedi, and I LOL'd because I guess he doesn't realize that Akbar has been a joke since ROTJ came out.
Return of the Jedi. Yeah,
yes.
I read about that, and look, I'm going to be honest with you. So they brought in the original actor who did Akbar before. and had him in The Last Jedi. And he was upset, and I guess he felt slighted that the way they ended his time there and all that kind of stuff. And I got to admit, I read it and I thought, you're acting a little bit entitled. I mean, look, I don't want to sound insensitive or anything, but it's like, dude, anybody could have been in that Akbar costume. I mean, look, it's great, and I would love to meet you and get an autograph, but let's not pretend you were Luke or Han or Leia and you were owed something. I didn't get a really good feeling from reading that, Mickey. I'll be honest with you. I didn't get a good feeling from reading that. It just felt like somebody who felt like he was owed something for what? You were lucky enough to be the guy in the Akbar mask. And you did a good job. But Akbar is a very small character, a beloved character nonetheless, but a small character. And they didn't even need to bring you back to be in the Akbar costume again. They could have got somebody else if they wanted to, but they made it you. And they paid you respect by doing that. To think you were owed anything else beyond that, I don't know. It just didn't feel good reading that. That's all. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I don't think the guy is selfish. Nothing like that. I just got to say I felt a little icky reading it. That's all. All right, what's next?
James Argenta, have you played Magic the Gathering Arena Online?
I have not played Arena Online, which is pretty funny because I got given, like 6 months ago or a year ago, I got given advanced access to a beta of it, but I never really had a chance to play it. But I do want to get around to it because, I was saying that this summer I'm going to start doing some play-in chats more, and I think maybe some Magic the Gathering Arena Online might be some of the games that I play sometimes. All right, what's next?
I'm heading to London this week for the first time.
Nice.
One thing I'm going to do the WB Harry Potter studio tour. You know anyone who has done it?
In London? No, I do not. But I didn't even know such a thing existed. But it does kind of make sense. If something like that was going to be around, it would be in London. Have a great time, man. Make sure you let us know what you think about it. I've always wanted to go and visit London. I've never had the chance, but hopefully I will sometime. Have a great time, dude. All right, what's next?
C10 Joker. I want to go see John Wick Chapter 3, but haven't seen the first two. Should I watch the first two, then the third, or am I good to go into 3 blind?
Look, I think you're okay to go into 3 blind, but it really will be a better experience if you take the time, hop on Amazon, Google Play, Netflix, whatever, and watch the first 2 first. Look, again, you're okay to go into 3 blind, you're okay, but I highly recommend, I think you're going to get a lot more out of the experience if you watch the first 2 first. So that's my recommendation on that. All right, what's next?
I'm upset. What's worse, Holmes and Watson or Zoolander 2?
Woo! I'm going to go Holmes and Watson. It's close. Zoolander 2 is plenty of awful, but the original Zoolander is so close to my heart. But that's a tough one, but I'm just by a little bit. I'm going to go Holmes and Watson. All right, what's next?
Tortellini at noon. My friend didn't know Kyle Chandler's name, but recognized his face from a lot of other things and said he's always just called him Dude, the man. And now that's what he'll be to me from now on.
I mean, the thing that I recognize him from, some people will say Friday Night Lights, which I never really watched Friday Night Lights. To me, it's Bloodline. I believe it was the Netflix series that he did with Ben Mendelsohn. Then when I think of him, that's what I think of. But he was popping. And don't forget, he was the guy who was originally supposed to be Cable in Deadpool 2. And then they went with Josh Brolin, which I think was a good choice. But yeah, Kyle Chandler's a great actor. He does have one of those faces, Tortellini at noon, that you definitely recognize immediately. You see the face, you probably don't know his name, but you know you've seen him in a million things. He's just one of these guys who delivers. No matter what he's in, no matter what role he's playing, he delivers. Every time, consistency like clockwork, even when he's given a bad character, like he was given in Godzilla King of the Monsters. All right, what's next?
Dan Ketchum, I like Patman better than Battinson. Has more zip.
I think, somebody else came up with this idea the other day where, because Robert Pattinson's nickname for a while has been R-Pats. So somebody said, how about R-Bats? And that's not bad. And I put up, you know what? I don't have the time to do this, so I'm going to do it anyway. I put up on my Twitter the other day a poll asking people, so what are we going to go with? Are we going with Battinson, whatever? Let me see if I can bring this up here. All right, so I put this poll up on my Twitter. I said, okay, so what are we going with as far as Pattinson's Batman goes? I said, is it going to be Patman, Battinson or Arbats, and it was pretty much a runaway landslide. Battinson got all the votes at 66%. Patman got a little bit of love at 24%, and Arbats ended up with 10%. Again, over 6,000 of you guys voted on that thing I put on Twitter.
I like Batman.
You know what? Hey, look, I like Patman too. I like Patman. Patman's not bad, but I mean, Battinson seems to be the one that everybody's going with on this point, so I'm cool with it. I guess we're settling on what is it, Battinson? Yeah, I guess we're settling on Battinson. I mean, it makes sense. It's consistent. They called the Ben Affleck one Batfleck, so that's fine. So I guess this one's going to be Battinson. I might have gone Patman or Arbats, but I go with the wisdom of the crowd. Battinson it is. All right, what's next?
Senor Eric, John, have you seen Booksmart yet? If not, what the F are you doing? I'm so sad that this instant classic is flopping at the box office.
You know, it's funny. You were just asking me that.
I was, yeah. I mean, I love Olivia Wilde. I haven't seen it. I'm going to see it tonight. I hear great things, like word of mouth. People are loving this movie, but it's really underperforming.
Yeah, nobody. And here's the main problem. I have not seen this movie yet, but I am curious about it because of Olivia Wilde. I'm a little bit in love with Olivia Wilde.
Who isn't?
She's direct. I mean, it's true. Who isn't? So I've been wanting to see it. I didn't get a chance to see it last weekend. Then I was away in Vegas all this weekend, so I couldn't see it any of this weekend. I can't see it tonight because I was gone this weekend. I hadn't seen Rocket Man yet, so I'm going to go see Rocket Man tonight. Me and Ann are going to go see that like 5 o'clock tonight or something like that. But I haven't seen it. But I'll tell you straight up. The trailers looked bad. The trailers didn't look good to me. The trailers simply did not look all that funny at all. And so when I started hearing all the great reviews it was getting, I was really rather surprised because really to that movie? Because that doesn't look good. They did not do, if the movie is as good as everybody is saying it is, then they did a really piss poor job in their marketing because all this charm and all this humor and all this poignant observations that they say this movie makes, I got none of that in the trailers. So I am definitely going to go see it, maybe even tomorrow. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to see it yet. And I would have seen it this weekend, but I was away in Vegas at the World Series of Poker. So anyway, there's that. But I'll get on that pretty quick here, Senor. And you're right. It's too bad it's bombing so badly, but chalk that up to marketing. It was terrible marketing. All right, what's next?
John, Michael Lozada, wow, Rocket Man, biggest surprise of 2019 for me.
Yeah, I wish I could have seen it this weekend, but I was away. I'm going to go see it tonight. I'll let you guys know what I think about it tomorrow. All right, what's next?
Maya Demi to Lone Wolf ×6 regarding Lucifer killing Cain. Lucifer can't use Azrael's blade anymore.
Azrael's
blade anymore. Watch the end of season 2, episode 18, Charlotte and Lucifer at the beach.
You know what? I don't even remember that, Maya, but it's great for me to have somebody else who's an even bigger Lucifer geek than I am because I love that show and I didn't even remember that. So thank you for following up on that, Maya. God, I love this show so much. Please, Netflix, let us have a season 5. All right, what's next?
Django 19, how could you make a Godzilla movie so boring? I was falling asleep. Godzilla scenes were awesome, though. Also saw Ma, and it was great. Avoided trailers.
Yeah, I liked Ma. Ma wasn't as good as I was hoping, but Octavia Spencer is a goddess, all right?
She's great.
Octavia Spencer, straight up goddess. I love this woman. Unfortunately, the bad thing about Ma was that they had no idea how to write teenagers. I love Tate Taylor. He's done one of my favorite movies the last 10 years, The Help, also with Octavia Spencer. He also did Get On Up. He is a terrific director, and I love him. But wow, they don't know how to write teenagers because I'm like, I was a teenager. I've known a bunch of teenagers. We never acted like that, and we never talked like it, but whatever. But the movie's quite good, and it's enjoyable. Not as good as I was hoping, but quite good. As far as Godzilla, you're right. When the monsters are on screen, it's kicking ass, Django. It's kicking ass. Unfortunately, 80% of the movie wasn't that. And you gotta put effort into making a good movie. Don't just make a good YouTube clip highlight. Make a good movie. It's great that you have the Godzilla stuff, but if you're going to spend 80% of the time on the human characters, make them good characters. Give us a good plot to run along with it, because nothing in this movie made any sense outside of the monsters fighting each other, which was awesome when it was happening. It was just the minority of it. But hey, you know, a lot of other people like the movie, and that's awesome. Robert Meyer Burnett loves this film, which is great. I just wish I got more out of it than I did. All right, what's next?
Matt SF Jada, why won't Disney make Mickey, Donald, etc. movies?
I don't think there's a box office for it. I don't know that there's a big potential for box office compared to the expense of doing it. And these are, you know, these are the physical manifestations of the Disney brand. Do you really want to take a risk on making a movie that isn't well received with the physical representations of the brand? Probably not. So I think it's probably a mixture of both of those. All right, what's next?
Zach Bartron, here lies the body of Mary Lee, died at the age of 103. For 15 years, she kept her virginity. Not a bad record for this vicinity.
I don't know what that's from. It sounds like something that would be in Supernatural, but I don't recognize the quote at all, Zach. But I love that quote. That's great. I know when I'm watching a movie, as soon as I see that quote come up, I'll know exactly, this is what Zach was talking about. Okay, what's next?
Chris Hamilton, is anyone going to watch season 3 of Jessica Jones, regardless of quality?
I'm one of the few people. I'm not a fan of Jessica Jones. I watched season 1. Everybody loved it, and I did not. Not at all. I watched season 2, and I thought season 2 was an improvement, but still not all that thrilled with it. I'll probably watch season 3 just because why not? I still got to get around to watching Punisher season 2. I love Punisher season 1 and I still haven't watched season 2 yet. So I got to get on both of those. All right, what's next?
Shelly Belly, Napoleon, make yourself some dang quesadillas.
Is that from Napoleon Dynamite?
I'm guessing. Sounds like it.
It's been a long time since I've seen that, but I cannot remember it. That's a good one, Shelly Belly. All right, what's next?
Lucas Wilson. The composer John Powell was the sound of my childhood, trained under Zimmer and scored so many great projects like How to Train Your Dragon, Born, X-Men The Last Stand. Shame he doesn't have more recognition. And then does he go on?
He says it was one of 2, but I don't see anything else from him. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, maybe he didn't realize he could get it all squeezed in. First of all, Colorado, Yeti, that's a really generous super chat. Thank you for that. And you know what? The composers, look, everybody knows the name John Williams. Obvious reasons. He's the GOAT, greatest of all time. Everybody knows the name Zimmer. Obviously, the guy's an all-time great. But a lot of times, I mean, some people are starting to pick up on some other names as well. Not many, but some other names as well. I mean, we recognize the name of Shore, Silvestri, guys like that. But it's a shame that these are guys, a lot of writers' names are becoming recognized. Directors' names, obviously. Actors, of course, the Kings of the Hill. And it is unfortunate that some people who contribute to movies like these ones, a guy like that doesn't get more... sorry, that wasn't Yeti. Who was that? That was Lucas, sorry. That John Powell doesn't get enough recognition. But composers in general don't get enough recognition. And the work they put into a movie really do set the tone of the movie, and they set the mood of the movie. And a lot of times when it does it right, when we hear the music, if they do it right, when we hear the music even by itself, our mind and our essence is immediately teleported to that place. Like as soon as I start hearing the music, ba 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 ba, I'm instantly in the Shire. My imagination takes me to Lord of the Rings, and I'm in the Shire. You know, and when good music does that, or when you hear ba 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 ba, I'm in Jurassic Park. As soon as I hear that, I'm in Jurassic Park. Good music does that. Composers do that. They create the magic, and it would be really good if more names, if we as fans get to the point where we start recognizing those names a little bit more. And I'm really glad you brought that up, Lucas. Thank you so much. Thank you for the generous super chat, by the way, and thank you for bringing that up. All right, what's next?
Just too tasty good. Better actor turned director between Ben Affleck or Clint Eastwood.
Ho, ho, ho. Woo! That's a good one, but you know right now you got to go Clint Eastwood. The guy's got trophies on his shelf. The guy's got multiple nominations, trophies on his shelf. Look, Ben Affleck is probably, of this generation, the best actor turned director there is. But you want to put him up against probably the gold standard all time of actors turned directors. You're talking Clint Eastwood at that point. So it's no shame to a Ben Affleck to say you got to play second fiddle to a Clint Eastwood, man. You got to play second to a Clint Eastwood, and there's no shame in that whatsoever. All right, what's next?
Jersey Kid, I have never played Magic the Gathering. Is it similar to Dungeons and Dragons? If it is, and with the Russos doing it, it must be a little enticing to me.
It's actually, no, it's nothing like Dungeons and Dragons, really. It is a collectible card game, almost like any other card game. You know, certain cards have certain values that do things to other cards with other values. It's a very simple game to learn. It really is. If you want, there's just a few key concepts from how you utilize Magic, the different turns, you know, the different stages of turns that you take. You can learn it in 5 minutes. There's lots and lots of videos on YouTube about learning Magic the Gathering. Simple game to learn, takes forever to master, but you can be up and playing a game of Magic the Gathering. If you had a friend that wanted to play with, go to your local collectible store, buy a couple of packs of cards, and you guys can be playing in 15 minutes. Seriously, just watch a couple YouTube videos, you're up, you're good. And it'll be interesting to see what the Russo brothers do with something like this. But it's a fun game. I highly encourage people to try it out. All right, what's next?
You know what game you shouldn't play is Pandemic. That took my family about 4 hours to learn. And we watched like 20 YouTube videos. It was so frustrating. Don't play Pandemic.
Don't play Pandemic.
Clay Woodley, over under 40%. Lion King makes more money domestically than Endgame.
Ooh, because Endgame is now over 800 million. Can Lion King make over 800 million domestically? I'm going to go no. I think there was a time that I thought Lion King had a shot. Like I always thought Endgame would make more money. But I did think Lion King had a shot of making more money than Endgame, even though I thought Endgame would be the one to make more. But once Endgame came out with the astronomical numbers that it had, I started to doubt that. So no, I'm going to take the under on that. I do not think Lion King will make more money domestically than Endgame did. All right, what's next?
Sir Ivan Bennett, hey, I saw Godzilla this weekend and I have to agree with Rob. My inner 10-year-old loved it. I didn't even mind the PowerPoint scene. It just showed the villain's plan clearly for younger viewers.
Yeah, to me, that was the most laughable scene in the entire movie, which unfortunately was filled with laughable scenes. But look, Robert Meyer Burnett loves this film. And there's a bunch of people that are really enjoying this film. And look, I got to say, as somebody who was very disappointed in the movie, there's definitely things in there completely worth seeing. And if that stuff heavily outweighed, like if you enjoy that stuff so much that it made you just ignore and able to overlook a lot of the other stuff, that's awesome. I've got movies that I do that for as well. So nothing wrong with that at all. I'm just saying, Sir Ivan, I'm glad you were able to have that experience. I wish I was able to have that experience because if you guys watch this show, you guys know how excited I was for this movie and I really was pumped about it. And so I'm glad you had that experience, the one that I couldn't have. So that's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing. All right, what's next?
Django 19, over under 60%. Dark Phoenix is better than Godzilla.
Ooh. I got to take under. I don't have a lot of hope for this movie. It's funny because last night me and Ann were talking. I'm like, oh yeah, like X-Men opens this week. Let's hop on our A-list apps and buy our Thursday night tickets because that's what we do. Like early in the week, we say, hey, what's opening this weekend? Great, let's go on A-list and get our Thursday night tickets for whatever the movie is opening. I said, oh, honey, let's grab our phones and let's book those tickets now. And I go to grab my phone and I look that Ann hasn't moved and she's just looking at me. I'm like, what? She goes, what if I don't want to see that movie? I'm like, but you like X-Men movies. This doesn't look good. I don't think I want to see it. So I guess I'm flying solo on Thursday. Ann doesn't want to see it. I'm not hearing good things, so I got to take the under on that, unfortunately. All right, what's next?
C.E. Nelson, hi there. Hope all is well. In the horror genre, do you all consider A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 Dream Warriors a classic? I do. Just wondered. Have a nice day.
You know what? I'm in the minority. I've never liked it all that much. I was never a big fan of any of the Nightmare on Elm Street films other than the original, which I think is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I've hated all the other ones, and I know a lot of people that love Part 3, but I am not one of them, to be honest with you. Don't hate me. Don't hit me. I got to admit, I'm not a big fan of that one. I love the first one. That's pretty much the only one I love. Did you ever see Part 3?
I can't remember. I don't think so. No, I just remember loving the OG.
Yeah, the original. Yeah. All right, what's next?
Sir Ivan Bennett, saw first episode of Chernobyl. Great, but so damn heavy.
Oh my God, it's heavy. It's heavy, but in a beautiful, depressing, gorgeous, inspiring, tragic, painful. It's magical television. If you haven't seen it, you got to see it. It's absolutely freaking remarkable. Have you been watching Chernobyl? I know you've been away, so I don't know if you've had a chance.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to, but my friends have, and they love it. So, it looks incredibly heavy, but definitely worth a watch and important to watch, I think.
All right, what's next?
Senor Eric, by flopping, I really meant disappointing.
Well, if you're talking about, if you're still talking about Booksmart, no, it's flopping. It's going to lose money, even at such a cheap movie, which is too bad, but maybe it deserves more. I don't know because I haven't seen it yet, but hopefully I'll get to rectify that this weekend. All right, what's next?
Colorado Yeti. I know it's not going to happen, but I wish that Disney would keep the X-Men separate from the MCU. Their entire mythology is that mutants are feared and hated because they are the next evolution in mankind.
Colorado, you are preaching to the choir, my brother. You are preaching to the choir. I have completely believed, ever since the first notions were coming up that Disney was actually going to acquire Fox, that the best thing to do is keep the X-Men universe in a completely separate universe from the MCU. Besides the fact that the MCU is already getting hella overcrowded and they already have way more characters than they should, and there's nothing special about superheroes in that universe anymore because there's 18 superheroes at every 7-Eleven on every street corner now.
Exactly.
There's nothing special left about any of these characters. I still love the MCU, but with the X-Men, the whole idea of the X-Men is that they're supposed to have been, mutants have been around for decades and decades and decades, representing the next stage in human evolution. You've got to have that historical background of an old friendship between Professor Charles Xavier and Eric, aka Magneto. You have to have all that. You don't have to, but it's much, much preferable if you do. And there are so many characters in the X-Men universe and all that kind of stuff. Why does everything have to be under one frickin' roof? Why not have different stories? Why not have different worlds to tell stories in? It's not what they're going to do. Deadpool will be kept separate out of the MCU. We know that. Regardless of whatever it is you're reading online, what we know is that Deadpool is going to be kept separate out of the MCU. Bob Iger's made that clear. They made it very clear at CinemaCon that they're keeping Deadpool at Fox, not under Marvel or the MCU. They were very, very clear about that. That being said, Colorado, I'm with you, brother. I think there's so many advantages to keeping it separate, but you and I are going to have to come to peace with it because that is what they're doing. They are going to put them all under one Marvel roof. It's a mistake. Look, in Kevin Feige, I trust. Kevin Feige will do great things with it. He will. Kevin Feige is going to do something great with the X-Men. He absolutely will. Of that, I have no doubt. But it would be better if they kept it separate. So that's my thought. I'm in the minority. Colorado, you and I are in the minority on that, but they should keep it separate. That's just my thought. All right. And by the way, Colorado, thank you. That was a very generous super chat, man. Thanks for supporting the channel on that level, my man. All right, what's next?
Cinematic Galaxy. I think Amazon's upcoming Wheel of Time TV show adaptation might be the next Game of Thrones type hit. I haven't read the books, but they are epic, high fantasy, and beloved. There are 15 books in all.
Yeah, listen, the first trailer for that dropped, and it got a lot of people's attention, including mine. Now, there have been a number of people who think this isn't really something you can translate well to the screen. Clearly, they tried doing something with it in the movie form before. Didn't work out so well. Now they're trying on the television screen. It could be. There are several TV shows that are vying to be the next Game of Thrones. We keep hearing that term being thrown around. Obviously, we got The Witcher with Henry Cavill. There's that. We've got the Wheel of Time series coming. There's that. We've obviously got the Lord of the Rings series on Amazon Prime. There's that. So there's a lot of these shows vying for that next
Dark
title.
Materials, maybe.
Wheel of Time stuff, his Dark Materials.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are super stoked. They're very excited. I think there is a lot of potential there, but we're way too early to crown what we think is going to be the next Game of Thrones. We got to see a lot more than what we've seen at this point. But you're absolutely right, Cinematic Galaxy. There's a lot of people contending for that throne. Let's see which one's going to do it. Maybe we, the audience, will end up being the winners, and it'll be multiple shows that do that. And then we all win. How great would that be? All right, what's next?
Andres Moran sends in two super chats.
Thank you, Andres.
Yes. Edtor Mansuri. Any word on the live action Finding Nemo? LOL.
No, I'll let you know as soon as we hear anything. That's funny.
Joseph Thompson. Hey, John, have you seen What We Do in the Shadows on FX? I love it, especially episode 7. I think it's something you would enjoy.
No, Anne's been watching it, and she says she's been loving it. I would love to watch it because I love the original movie. I did hear it already got renewed for season 2, which is always a good sign. So I haven't watched it yet, man, but I am totally excited about it because what they did with the movie, it's one of the funniest movies I've seen in years. I've heard that the TV show totally captures the spirit of it, which is great to me. Anne says she's been liking it. So I'll tell you what, Joseph, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. Again, I don't watch an awful lot of TV. I don't have a lot of time for TV, but it is one that's on my list. I got to get around to seeing because I'm hearing great things about it, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, and thanks for recommending it to people, Joseph. Appreciate that. All right, what's next?
Andres Moran. Just saw Always Be My Maybe. I love Keanu acting like a douche, and that final song is what I picture when you talk of breakdancing back in the day.
It totally sounds like breakdancing back in the day. I'm just telling you what, guys. It's totally worth watching. Always Be My Maybe. Again, understand what you're getting, okay? It's cheesy. Plot-wise, it's pretty thin. It's kind of predictable, but it's charming and it's cute and it's got laughs and it makes you smile. At the end of the movie, especially for a Netflix movie, which are normally crap. There's some good ones, but normally the Netflix original films are crap. This one is one of the really nice exceptions to it. Make sure you sit down and check it out. So thanks for the recommendation, man. All right, what's next?
Elijah Chatham. If creatures in the Magic the Gathering show don't turn sideways when they attack, then I'm out.
So, look, we're going to have to expect... For those of you who don't know, when you tap on, you got to turn it side. I'm not going to go into the mechanics of the game, but I have a feeling, Elijah, they probably will not do that. A little bit of adaptation might be necessary here. Just a little bit of adaptation, but good observation. All right, what's next?
Brian Clark. Is it just me, or at the beginning of Godzilla, is Kyle Chandler living in the same lakeside cabin as Tony Stark lived in Endgame?
Dude, I asked somebody the same question. It's probably not, but I'm not lying to you, Brian. I remember I looked at that and I looked closely. It's like, that kind of looks like the same place. Although I didn't see a cabin, I don't want to go into anything about why he's there or where he's there because, spoilers, don't want to give anything away. But I am not going to lie to you, Brian. I kind of had the same thought. I doubt it is, but I'll have to watch them both side by side to know for sure. But the thought crossed my mind too. All right, what's next?
Oscar Villanueva. My guess is new Joker is part of the Reeves trilogy as long as it proves to work. The whole one-shot movie is for not to owe sequels until success.
I'm not quite sure I understand that last sentence. I will tell you this, though, Oscar. No, I do not believe that the Joker movie is in any way tied to the Matt Reeves one. What we know is that Joaquin Phoenix, one of the reasons, Joaquin Phoenix was picked to play Doctor Strange, but the negotiations fell apart because Joaquin Phoenix didn't want to sign multi-film deals. He didn't want to be beholden to come back and be in a position where he owed it to some company to come back and do more films. He doesn't like to do that. Now, I'm not saying that's impossible. I'm not saying it's impossible, but there has been absolutely nothing to suggest to us that this Matt Reeves Batman thing and this Joker movie are in any way associated with each other whatsoever. And guys, come on, not everything has to be shared cinematic universe. Let's just get some great standalone movies. How about that? And I think this Joker movie is designed to be a standalone movie, so I'm not expecting we're going to see a crossover. Is it impossible? Nope, not impossible. I just think highly unlikely, but we'll see. All right, what's next?
Dim Sum 05, Star Spangled Man propaganda montage in Captain America 1 is awesome. From punching Hitler to making movies to watching kids buy their Captain America #1.
You know what? One of the most underrated comic book films, other than Man of Steel, which is the most underrated and underappreciated comic book film of all time, and other than Thor 1, which I believe is the second most underrated comic book movie of all time, I'd have to say Captain America the First Avenger is the next most underrated comic book movie ever. Now, a lot of people like that movie. I don't think people appreciate that movie nearly as much. I remember I was doing a podcast once with my friend Kyle Newman. You guys, Kyle, if you recognize that name, he's married to Jamie King, she's got her own Netflix series right now. But he was also the director of that great movie Fanboys. And Kyle had me on his podcast once, specifically just to talk about Captain America First Avenger. And we spent like an hour and a half just discussing that movie, how it's underappreciated, how truly good that movie really is. And a lot of people, I don't think, recognize that or remember it. And I would recommend, Dim Sum, that a lot of people should go back and rewatch that because it's a really fine movie. It's a really fine movie. So I think people should go back and revisit it some more. All right, what's next?
Raymond Verada, loved Always Be My Maybe. Have you and Ann seen it?
Yes, we did. Watched it last night, and I'm with you, Raymond. I thought it was really charming. Again, cheesy, thin plot, basically predictable. It was a Lifetime Network movie, but just maybe the best Lifetime Network movie ever made. But definitely enjoyable. I had a good time with it. All right, what's next?
Ben Rayner, have you tried Oculus Quest? It's awesome.
I have not, but I've heard some people mention it. I've had some people recommend that I try that out, so I'll probably have to do that at some point, Ben. All right, what's next?
Tortellini at Noon. Our podcast just hit 100 episodes today.
Nice.
Not many people listen to our dumb little show, but it doesn't matter because it is just a chance for my group of friends to sit around and talk movies.
Tortellini, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think more people, I am constantly trying to encourage people to get involved in the online film fan space or any online space. If you're really into tech, do tech stuff. If you're really into gaming, go do gaming. If you're really into news topics, go into news. If you're really into fashion, go into fashion. If you're really into shoes, I think more people basically need to get involved in the online space and add their voices to the conversation. It doesn't matter if you have 5 people listening to your podcast, 15 people reading your blog posts, 20 people watching your YouTube video. It doesn't matter. What matters is you enjoy throwing your voice out there. What matters is that you're adding the voice to the collective conversation. and it's fun. And I think more people should get involved. So applause to you, Tortellini, for being involved and for hitting 100 episodes. That's not an easy thing to do. And I hope you guys are having a lot of fun doing it. So good on you, sir. All right, what's next?
AB loves movies. Any update about John Wick joining MCU?
If you're talking about the story that we just covered, that was the story that we covered. I don't think it's legit, but it would be interesting if it did. I'd be for it if it happens. All right, what's next?
Wesley Cunningham saw Rocket Man, and I gotta say, in the year so far Oscars, I think this may be leading my Best Actor category. I don't care if it's a stereotypical biopic role, sorta. Taron freaking transformed, son.
I've heard nothing but positive things about Rocket Man, and that's why I'm very excited that I'm going to be going to see it tonight. I'll let you guys know what I think about tomorrow. But you're not alone, Wesley. I've been hearing a number of people saying that it might be their favorite film of the year so far. Not everybody, but I've heard a number of people say that. And definitely, people are raving about Taron Egerton's performance, but also about, what's the guy's name who played Rob Stark? Richard.
Oh.
And he's in Bodyguard.
Yeah.
Richard.
He's awesome.
I'm hearing he's fantastic in it as well, that the performances are just top notch. It's a great musical fantasy rock. That's all the stuff I'm hearing about it. I'm very excited about seeing it tonight, Wesley. And maybe I'll feel the same way you do. I'll share my thoughts on that tomorrow. Thanks for sharing your recommendation, man. All right, what's next?
I'm just trying to look up his name. Okay.
Richard, is it Madsen? No, it's not Richard Madsen, is it? No, it's...
What the heck is it? Richard Madden.
Richard Madden. Okay, I hear he's great in it as well.
Yeah, Steve L. Smith. Hey, John and Rob, I was born with cerebral palsy and use a wheelchair. As you can imagine, some days are tough. Just want to say thanks for making my tough days a lot easier. The show means a lot to me.
Oh, dude, thank you so much for that. And thank you for highlighting again how great it is that we have these online communities and that we have these online film fan communities where for any of us, just to know we have a community we can jump in, but particularly, Steve, for somebody who faces the challenges that you face, that we're able to have these places we can get together, talk about it, and it don't matter. It don't matter whatever challenges or limitations we have or what opportunities we do or don't have or whatever, it don't matter. We can get together in this online space, talk about our favorite things. And I think that's just another reason why I love these communities so much, Steve. And so, man, listen, seriously, thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. That makes me feel great. It makes me feel very proud about everybody we have in our film fan community that we can get together, talk movies. People are chatting it up in the chat board and all that's kind of stuff. It's just a great thing, and it really makes me love this community. It makes me love this community a lot, and I'm glad you're able to enjoy the benefits of that, and I'm glad you're able to participate in that and contribute to it, because listen, Steve, by being here, I'm sure you're contributing to other people who might be in similar situations as well. So, dude, thank you so much for sharing that, and it's great being film fans together. All right, thanks, man. What's next?
CJ, done. Damn you, JC. I started watching Lucifer because of you, and now I can't stop. Not sure if it's the writers or if Tom Ellis does some improv, but Lucifer is hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know what the combination is there, CJ, but Lucifer is my favorite character. The character of Lucifer Morningstar is my favorite character on TV. Tom Ellis is so good in that role, and whether I doubt it's improv so much as probably a lot of the writing, but then he brings that writing to life. It's the combination of the whole team effort. I adore this show. It is one of my favorites on TV right now. I'm glad you got on board with the CJ. And I didn't know what to expect going into season 4. Like, would Netflix change it up a lot? And the only thing Netflix did to change it up is make it a little bit dirtier. Because, look, the show's always been a very dirty show. It's a very filthy show. And I love the filthy. Bring on the filthy. And I love it. But it was on Fox, so there's only so much you could do. So they didn't do anything extremely different. They just pushed the borders a little bit because they're on Netflix and they did it just right. And I love season 4. I hope you got caught up to CJ. So thanks for sharing that with everybody else, man. I appreciate it. All right, what's next?
Stephen Stanley, best movie YouTubers. Number 1, John Campea. Number 2, Chris Stuckman. Number 3, Jeremy Jans.
As long as you got me in the number 1 spot, I'm perfectly fine. Now, listen, the great thing about this whole online space and community is that there are actually a lot of really good film fans online right now that do a great job of communicating their own film love and stuff like that makes it contagious, you know, and we're really lucky that we've got some people who are kind of been like pillars in this space and really iconic pillars in the space, like Chris and Jeremy. I know both of them. But there's many others as well. And that is one of the great things, the diversity in our space right now. So thank you for including my name in there, man. It makes me feel special. Thank you. All right, what's next?
Cam Arm, will Rambo 5 fail at the box office?
I don't think so. And remember, this is one that Stallone's made for pretty cheap. I think it'll do well. Like, it's not going to be a $400 million movie, nothing like that, but it won't need to be. All I know is that I really like that first trailer. I think there's going to be a nostalgia factor there. I think it will do enough to be profitable. Will it be a big hit? I don't think so. But I think it'll do enough with its modest budget to be profitable. That's what I'm expecting at any point. All right, what's next?
Charlie Gray, any movies that didn't do that well in the past that you think would do better if made and released in today's world?
That is tough to think about off the top of my head. That's impossible. The only one I've got off the top of my head is maybe Mystery Men. Mystery Men, which is Ben Stiller, Hank Azaria, William H. Macy, Gina Garofalo, Pee Wee Herman, Casanova Frankenstein, Jeffrey Rush, Greg Kinnear. Such an incredible cast. That movie was way ahead of its time. It was way ahead of its time. I think if it were released today, it would have been a big hit. But there are probably many others that I just can't think of off the top of my head. All right, listen, guys. We're just about out of time here, so we're out of time for our live questions. But there are some people who have sent in some fairly... Oh, actually, no, we got through all the major large ones, haven't we? Except for...
There's one down there.
There's one down there. Let's run down to Melvin Rose's question, and then we'll wrap things up.
I also just want to say Steve L. Smith also said meant to thank Ashley in my super chat as well, and I just want to send you some love for that.
Oh, thanks for that, Ashley.
And then Melvin Rosa. Hi, Ashley. Nice to see you again. Good to see you guys. I still think that the 3-hour length of Endgame may have hurt the viewability for some people to watch it multiple times at the theaters.
I don't think you're wrong there, Melvin. I think that definitely plays into it, because I personally know several people that saw the movie once or twice, and it's like, yeah, I'm good. I mean, 3 hours is a long haul. It's a good 3 hours, but it's still a long haul to go to the movies. And so I'm sure that limited it a little bit as well. But then again, you can make a counter argument that because it's a good 3 hours, that contributed to the amount of people that went to go see it, right? So it probably balances itself out. But I've got no doubt, Melvin, whatsoever, that you are probably accurate on that the sheer length of the movie probably affected some people's decision about how many times they went back to go see it again. So that probably played a factor. But again, I think there are contributing factors that balance that out as well. But there you go. All right, guys, listen. To everybody else who sent in super chats today, do not worry. I'm going to gather up all these super chats, and I'm going to answer them in a companion video today. As a matter of fact, I still have some leftover questions from Friday that I didn't get around to because I had to go to Vegas. So I'm going to take those questions from Fridays, and I'm going to take these ones, and we're going to do a big companion video today. Keep your eyes open for it a little bit later today. Your questions that got sent in will get answered in a video today. All right, I want to thank, of course, the person joining me here today, Ashley Whalen. Ashley, it's good to have you back. And where can people find you online?
You guys can follow me on my Twitter at AshAttack1, or my Instagram is my name, Ashley Whalen. There's 2 I's in the first name.
And you guys, of course, can simply follow me on social media, just at John Campea. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Don't forget the John Campea Show returns again tomorrow. While you're here, why don't you take a second, click on that subscribe button, become subscribers to the John Campea YouTube channel. Also, if you enjoyed the conversation, whether you agreed or disagree with us on anything, if you enjoyed the conversation, do me a favor, take a second and click the thumbs up button on the video. It helps the channel out a great deal. All right, guys, that will do it for us for now. Thanks a lot for joining us. My name is John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.